Greetings, YouTube. Today we're taking a look at white fragility. Why it's so hard for white people to talk about racism by Robin DiAngelo, forward by Michael Eric Dyson. A necessary book for all people invested in societal change. I completely agree with that. A vital, necessary, and beautiful book. A bracing call to white folk everywhere to see their whiteness for what it is and to see the opportunity to make things better now. I would agree with that. So what is white fragility? It's a complex topic. There's an entire book I'm in my hand talking about it. But in essence, it's whenever white people are asked to accept the fact that they live in a world where their race plays a part, that they can actually be forced to see their whiteness and see what their whiteness has done to the world, particularly the world of black people and brown people, and how their whiteness offers them all kinds of privileges that black people and brown people do not have, never have at all. When they are pushed to look at that privilege structure, to look at how whiteness has helped define the whole world they live in, some of them break. And I hope that was ice. Sorry. I'm going to go through some questions here, this is one, not question, but statements. And this is about the rules of engagement, white fragility and the rules of engagement. Okay. Now, these are the kinds of things that white people defend themselves with or base their whiteness on. Do not give me feedback on my racism under any circumstance. If you insist on breaking the cardinal rule, then you must follow these other rules. Proper tone is crucial. Feedback must be given calmly. If any emotion is displayed, the feedback is invalidated and can be dismissed. There must be trust between us. You must trust that I am in no way racist before you give me feedback on my racism. Our relationship must be an issue-free. If there are issues between us, you cannot give me feedback on racism until those unrelated issues are resolved. Feedback must be given immediately. If you wait too long, the feedback will be discounted because it is not given sooner. You must give feedback privately, regardless of whether the incident occurred in front of other people. To give feedback in front of any others who are involved in the situation is to commit a serious social transgression. If you cannot protect me from embarrassment, the feedback is invalid and you are the transgressor. You must be as indirect as possible. Directness is insensitive and will invalidate the feedback and require repair. As a white person, I must feel completely safe from any discussion of race. Suggesting that I have racist assumptions or patterns will cause me to feel unsafe, so you will need to rebuild my trust by never giving me feedback again. Point of clarification, when I say safe, what I really mean is comfortable. Highlighting my racial privilege invalidates the form of oppression that I experience, i.e. classism, sexism, heterosexism, ageism, ableism, and transphobia. We will then need to turn our attention to how you oppressed me. You must acknowledge my intentions, always good, and agree that my good intentions cancel out the impact of my behavior. To suggest any behavior had a racist impact is to have misunderstood me. You will need to allow me to explain myself until you can acknowledge that it is your misunderstanding. Another passage in here which I thought was really darn important. This is dealing with white men being racially fragile. Control of the conversation by speaking first, last, and most often. Arrogant and disingenuous invalidations of racial inequality via just playing the devil's advocate. Simplistic and presumptuous proclamations of the answer to racism. People just need to yada, yada, yada. playing the outraged victim of reverse racism. Accusations that the legendary race card is being played. Silence and withdrawal. Hostile body language. Channel switching. The true oppressor is intellectualizing and distancing. I recommend this book, correcting the racial analysis of the people of color and white women, pompously explaining away racism and the experience of people of color. These are all things white people do every damn day. They'll do anything. They'll bend over philosophically backwards to avoid facing their whiteness, even avoiding accepting that they are white, that white has a meaning, that they are a race, because for their entire lives, they've just been the default. They didn't have to talk about their race because that was just who they were. You see, white people are all individuals, staunchly individualistic, whereas black people and brown people are these great uniform blobs. And when those staunch individuals are asked to like maybe start thinking about those people over there as people, and start realizing that the impact of their actions and their words is negatively affecting the lives of others, they snap. White fragility. This is a really important book. It's not particularly long. Didn't take me long to read it. I think it should be required reading in every single high school in America. Every single high school. There should be no exception. This needs to be known. White people need to understand that the problems of black people and brown people were created by us. Slavery isn't a black issue. It wasn't black people that kidnapped folks from Africa and brought them here to work for free on plantations. And we didn't import slaves. We imported priests and priestesses, philosophers, artists, farmers, fishermen, blacksmiths. We stole people and brought them to the North American continent. And some, of course, went to Central and South America. But we don't face that. We don't teach it. We don't learn it. You are never asked to question your whiteness. You are never asked to accept that maybe, just maybe, we don't treat black people and brown people the way they should be. It's unfair from top to bottom. But nothing is going to change unless the people that created the system change it. And that's us. So this is a really important book. I'm about to pass it on to my wife. I think it's a book that she should read as well. And then after that, I'm hoping we can pass it on to somebody else. Because this is a book that every white person needs to read. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to require you to grow. You're not going to enjoy it. You're going to get mad. You're going to get defensive. But that's part of the process. Because if you don't confront your whiteness, if you don't confront what your whiteness has done to the world in the past and what it's doing to the world today, you are just going to continue to be someone that is perpetuating white supremacy. It's that clear. You either change, you either become an ally, or you an accomplice to the white supremacists, helping the status quo, keeping quiet and towing the line. Well, I, for one, don't want to tow the line anymore. I've dropped that damn thing and I'm not picking it back up. So I recommend this book. I recommend that everybody read it. I think it should be, again, in every single high school in America. It should be required reading. That's going to cause book burnings in some places. Because right now in America, they're stripping schools of the ability to teach about black people and black history. They're terrified that the people that threw rocks at Ruby Bridges don't want their grandchildren to know they threw rocks at Ruby Bridges. But they did. They did those things. but they don't want their grandchildren to know about it. So they're doing everything in their power to make sure they don't. This book will help counter that. Not all of it, a little bit of it. It can open the doors for some people, help them start to walk the right path. So let's start walking the path. Let's not just start saying, oh, racism is terrible. Let's start doing the damn work that needs to be done so that we can fix the problems that we made.